All right, Jared. Let's get this video started, okay?
I don't know about that, Uncle Rick. I don't really want to make a Yu-Gi-Oh video.
Well, Morty, that's a little too bad because you're gonna have to.
Yeah, I know. I was planning on doing it anyway. Hello, everybody. Jared here. This is going to be my first Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile video of one of my favorite new decks introduced in Conan the Duelist, World Chalice. I know I'm probably a little behind on this because it was released all the way. It was released all the way back in August, and we already have Circuit Breakout now. We're looking forward to Spirit Warriors and Extreme Force and all that good stuff. But I have been working really hard on this deck, and I'm really excited to share my build with you. So, to get started, we have 3 World Legacy World Chalice monsters. So this card is huge. When you tribute summon it and it leaves the field, you get to special summon 2 of any World Chalice monsters from your deck. You can banish it from your grave to add another World Legacy card to your hand. And then if it's on the field and your opponent summons a monster from the extra deck, you can tribute this card to destroy that monster. It's a very, very powerful card, even though it looks kind of deceiving at 0 attack and 0 defense. Next up, we have 3 Lee, the World Chalice Fairy. She's your searcher. So if she's normal or special summon, you can go into your deck and add a World Chalice card, World Chalice monster from your deck to your hand. When she's in the grave, you can discard a monster to add her back to your hand. These are both once per turn effects. However, that's a really good Kickstarter for combos such as World Chalice Guard Dragon. He's like your hand trap essentially for this archetype. He can negate an effect that targets a monster that is linked. So when a link arrow is pointed to a monster, that makes it linked. And then when he's in the grave, you can banish him to summon a normal monster from your graveyard to a zone that a link monster is pointing to. So for example, if Lee was in the grave, you could discard him to add Lee back, then banish him to special summon a normal monster. So it's a pretty good simple combo right there. Next up, we have 3 Beckoned by the World Chalice, a simple normal monster. Level 4 Earth Warrior with 1800 attack. You can do a lot of pretty nifty things with this. One of the things that people usually do, aside from using it as link material and summon targets off of the other World Chalice effects, is to make Nat Beast off of it with Glow Up Bulb, which I have done a few times with this deck. Next up, only 2 chosen by the World Chalice. Target for E-Telly, just another normal monster that you can use. Only really necessary to run 2 because I have a bunch of other normal monsters that I'm going to show later. Next up, to make the deck extremely consistent and to make it easy to go for things like Trigate Wizard, Binary Sorceress, Proxy Dragon, and all that, I have the Agent of Creation Venus alongside 3 Mystical Shine Balls. So you can do this as many times as you want per turn as long as you're able to search for the Mystical Shine Balls, pay 500 life points off of Venus, summon 1 Mystical Shine Ball from your hand or deck. Cool thing that you can do with this is if you can keep Agent of Creation Venus on the field long enough, you can special summon Exodius, the Forbidden One. Shuffle all the Shine Balls that you use that are in the grave and all the other monsters in the grave as well back into the deck or extra deck. Then you can rinse and repeat with the Agent of Creation Venus. So all these cards make this deck extremely consistent. Next up, 1 Glow Up Bulb to make a Nat Beast using the Beckoned by the World Chalice. Really easy to summon if you pitch it to the grave using Lee's effect. I also have a Foolish Burial in here that I sometimes use this on. Just a really simple tuner card. And then because I'm too cheap to get cards like Kaiju Gamma Seal and other things, even though the prices have dropped recently, so I'm considering getting Gamma Seal, I have Santa Claus. So the reason why I say he's a Kaiju type card is because he has this similar effect where you tribute an opponent's monster and then give it to them and give Santa Claus to them instead. He also has an interesting effect where if he's on the field still and the turn ends, the player who controls him gets to draw a card. However, Santa Claus probably isn't going to last long enough for an opponent to get that card draw. Next up, 3 Unexpected Dies. I've been told a lot of times to only run 1 of these, but it's really important that I get at least 1 normal monster out on the field, so I like running 3. And it lets me go into my combos such as Imduke into World Legacy, World Chalice. Gets me extra free material, and it just sets up my board really nice at the beginning of the game. My emergency teleport, which is the target for chosen by the World Chalice. And the nice thing about this too is that I can have monsters on the field unlike unexpected die, so I can just churn them out right there. One reinforcement of the army, just to get an extra beacon into my hand. If I need to recycle some World Chalice monsters, either in my hand or put them back in my extra deck, I have 3 World Legacy's Hearts, so I get 2 back from my grave. And then I can also banish World Legacy's Heart to prevent one of my Link monsters from being destroyed by battle, which is super nice because Ib and Aurum kind of have low attack, so they're easily outed in battle. So by having one of these in my grave, I'm able to protect them from being destroyed. Also, because Proxy Dragon is extremely weak, which I plan on using in the future, World Legacy's Heart even gains more value. Next up, 2 Pot of Desires. Just because I don't want to accidentally draw like a third and then have to banish 30 out of 40 cards, which would not be good. It's a +1 as far as solid card advantage. I do lose cards to the banishing, and sometimes I have accidentally banished like all 3 copies of my Elise, but that's only happened once so far. So that's why I only run 2. But it's a nice pot of greed with cost to balance it. 1 Foolish Burial. Send a monster from the deck to the grave. 1 Soul Charge, an amazing recovery of resources. I do lose my battle phase, but that's perfectly fine, especially if I'm going first. So this actually lets me make Trigate Wizard much more easy. Or I can go for an intense Ningirsu draw combo, which is pretty kind of cool. 1 Mind Control. If my opponent has something that I can't out, I'll just take control of it. They'll probably negate this, but it's just a little spicy tech. And then to finish off my spells, I have 2 Cosmic Cyclones. Good back row removal. I think the cost for its effect is pretty balanced, and also it's a quick play spell, so that's pretty nice too. So if I go first and I finish with this, I'll obviously set it, wait for them to use like a field spell, a continuous spell, or set a trap that I might be suspicious of, and then I'll activate Cosmic Cyclone. Only 2 traps. I don't really like traps in Yu-Gi-Oh! At all too much anymore, just because of how slow they are. You know, I have to wait a turn to use them. So to start off, I have World Legacy Landmark, which I'm actually thinking about swapping out for one of the cards in my side deck. I can banish a World Legacy card in my hand or on the field, and then special summon 2, I believe, normal monsters. Nope, just 2 monsters in my graveyard and special summon them. However, they can't attack the turn that they're summoned. Simple recovery of resources. However, because it's a trap, it's just too slow for me. And then 1 Solemn Warning. 2,000 life points to negate the summon of anything, whether it be through monster effect, mechanic, or spell. Dang it. One of my other friends showed up. He was in the last video, which I will also post. So, yeah. He was interrupting the other video a lot, which you will see when I upload the spoilers one or the triggers one. I will get on with it. Jesus. All right. Now for the extra deck. 3 Imdukes. Extra normal summon of a World Chalice monster. So I kind of go into him with the normal monster, and then World Legacy, World Chalice. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't, but he's still good to have. He's also good fodder for making Ningirsu and Binary Sorcerer. 3 Ibs. Amazing protection from her. She can actually survive a lot, even though she has weak attack. And she can protect monsters that she points to very easily, very well. Super easy to make as well, because for summoning condition, there's a lot of diversity in this deck. So that allows her to be made very easily. Somehow I ended up getting 3 Aurums. I'm going to take one out eventually. But he kind of begins the combo for making Ningirsu, at least. He's the top card that Ningirsu will point to get the 3rd draw, which I actually have been able to get 3 draws off Ningirsu, but I usually need to have Soul Charge in that starting hand to get it going. 1 Ningirsu, just because I don't need 2, because I could probably get it back using World Legacy's Heart or Exodius. He gives me card draw. He gives me non-target removal, which is extremely nice because it's hard to negate then. And he's just a powerful monster. 1 Decode Talker, which I've never used. in a serious game, and I probably won't unless I'm kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel. While he does have amazing protection and negate, it's just something I really don't like using just because it's extremely awkward. Most people usually say like, "Oh, you just run one Gofu and two other Link Spiders, and you get a free Deco Talker." Well, with World Chalice, that doesn't really help the combo get off. It makes it extremely difficult to use. One Trigate Wizard. I can fully co-link it, depending on what my starting hand looks like. I usually need to have a Venus in my starting hand. He's got amazing abilities where he can banish and negate and banish if he's fully co-linked. So he does have low attack, but again, World Legacy's heart is where I go for protection. One Binary Sorceress, which I'm going to get rid of when I get a Proxy Dragon, just because her co-link effects aren't worth it. And while Proxy Dragon is 600 attack points weaker, he is, however, got better protection than Binary Sorceress. One Link Spider, just so I can fully co-link Trigate Wizard, and because it's easy to summon. One Utopia, if I can't make Naturia Beast with a tuner, I can get two Beckons on the field, either turn 2 or 3, and make number 39 Utopia for attack negation. And for some extremely trolly spell negation, Naturia Beast, which I've actually seen in official builds. Just because Beckon is an earth monster and so is Glow Up Bulb, you can easily make this and just mill for days to negate any spells your opponent casts. So if you're fighting Pendulum Magician, this is your go-to guy. I have 4 cards in my side deck. Storming Mirror Force gets rid of Link monsters, just because the Quaking Mirror Force that used to be super popular can't work on Link monsters because they don't get defense. I was thinking about doing a regular Mirror Force, but then I realized that might not be a good idea because other people might be thinking of running Soul Charge. There's other ways to revive monsters from the grave, so having them return back to the extra deck would make it a much more viable value, I guess. I don't know how else to phrase that. Jar of Avarice, which I thought about main decking again, but I decided that it was too slow just because it was a trap. Just in case things get interesting, I have a Rescue Rabbit. The reason why I don't like this is because it reduces the search in the deck by a lot, just because the Lee and World Legacy World Chalice kind of thin the deck out really fast, so Rescue Rabbit would make it extremely difficult. However, I think Rescue Rabbit might be a good idea to get the Mystical Shine balls out faster, just in case I don't get Venus in my starting hand. And then my third Pot of Desires. Pot of Desires I saw too often, and I didn't like drawing into this off of another Pot of Desires, so it just kind of sucked to see it, and when I was hoping to actually banish it. Alright, thank you for watching. That was my World Chalice deck profile. I'd say it cost about $150, so compared to a lot of other decks, it's pretty cheap to make. A little bit more expensive than Pendulum Evolution, but it's super fun to play and super consistent. Thank you for watching.
Fuck you.